What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 12 match for the League of Extraordinary Trainers. This week we are taking on Coach Locoghoul and the New Jersey Houndooms. So let's run through his team. He has Celesteela, Ash-Greninja, Azumarill, Gengar, which is a Z user, Galvantula, Alolan Muck, Gigalith, Mesprit, which is a Z user, Sandslash, Mega Medicham, and Gourgeist. You can see the team that he brought there on the screen. I was expecting Azumarill and Mega Medicham to come over the Mesprit, and that was it. I sort of had 7 in mind, and he ended up not bringing the Azu and not bringing the Mega Medicham. So Tangela's role in this game is really reduced. If you haven't seen my team builder, you should check that out because I love talking. But besides that, let's run through my team real quick. If you haven't seen the team builder, we have a offensive Mamoswine here. I'm not bringing hazards against his team, but this is an offensive Mamoswine. We have I believe it's Choice Scarf Rotom-Heat to potentially trick the Choice Scarf onto something else. We have it's a specially defensive Mega Latios with Defog. We have a physically defensive Tangela. We have a specially defensive Magearna with Assault Vest, and we have a physically offensive Life Orb Nidoking. Yeah, so I'm actually just going to lead with something. I think Rotom was a really good lead for me. No, I'm going to lead with the Mamoswine. That's what I'm going to lead with. I'm leading with Mamoswine because I can get some good hits off. I think I'm Scarf Mamoswine too. That's what it is. I'm Scarf Rotom-Heat and Scarf Mamoswine. Yeah, I'm going to lead with Mamoswine because it's kind of my best play against whatever he wants to lead with. And he will show the Mesprit. So I am carrying the knockoff, and I'm just going to click knockoff turn 1, and we'll see what he wants to do here. There's about half, and he gets his rocks up. So I'm going to go for knockoff again because it's my best play if he wants to hard switch out. Also on the Mesprit, he's going to get a U-turn off, and he's going to go into Ash-Greninja. Now, Magearna is my switch in 100% to this, but I actually go into Tangela the first time to see what he wants to do, and he actually has spikes on his Ash-Gren, so that's really good for me to know. He's trying to hazard stack me. He goes into Muck. I get the Stun Spore off, which is really good for me, getting paralysis on this thing. And I can sort of like stall this thing out a little bit. He gets fully parried. I was not trying to para-hacks him, although I was trying to paralyze the Ash-Greninja. I'm not going to lie about that. But it's nice to get a little bit of recovery back after switching out on rocks with my Leech Seed, and just be able to chip this Muck down as much as I can. Obviously, Giga Drain is not doing much to this thing, but we do see that that's not actually Assault Vest based on that damage. He gets rid of my Eviolite, not really a huge deal, because Tangela's usefulness in this game, now that he didn't bring Mega Medicham or Azumarill, is very diminished, unless for some reason he's physically offensive Celesteela, or physically offensive Gengar for some reason, which would be really weird. And as we're getting some nice chip down on this Muck, I'm continually Leech Seeding, because it's actually my best play if he wants to switch out, is to get a Leech Seed off. He goes for the Poison Jab, and it's going to do a lot of damage and poison me. The chances of him poisoning me are really good, but we're getting a lot of good Leech Seed damage off on this thing. And I'm stacking my Tangela, essentially. He goes into Gengar here, which is really bad for my Tangela. I'm going to go for the Giga Drain. It does a little bit of damage. Tangela's special attack stats actually half decent. I am going to go into my Magearna now, though, expecting like a Sludge Wave, and he is just going to click Substitute, which is kind of bad for me, but at the same time, my Thunderbolt will be able to break a sub. I just have to be wary about Cursed Body. So Shadow Ball comes out, and he'll be able to see that I'm Assault Vested now. Life Orb behind this sub is not good for him. Oh, there's my Shadow Ball, which breaks his sub, and he's going to go for sub again. I'm going to go for Thunderbolt this time, predicting him to switch into Ash-Greninja to take the Shadow Ball, to be honest. But now he goes for Pain Split. Kind of bad for me that I lost all that HP. And Shadow Ball was actually the play there, but I was expecting him to switch or something. I didn't want Shadow Ball to be Curse Bodied, but I go for the Thunderbolt instead, which brings him down low enough, and now my Thunderbolt's disabled, that he can now switch into Ash-Gren, I think. Yeah, he goes into Ash-Gren now because I can't threaten him with the Thunderbolt. My Shadow Ball does pretty pitiful damage to him. Maybe Floor Cannon was the play there. I don't even know if I was running Floor Cannon. Oh, you know what? I had Ice Beam for the Sandslash on here, too. He doubles into Celesteela, predicting me to double, but I actually do go for the Floor Cannon, and we see that Celesteela is more of a physically defensive Celesteela than a specially defensive one, if he's defensive. He's definitely got some HP investment, but But now my Magearna has to switch out because the Celesteela could have Earthquake. So I go into my Rotom-Heat, which is my check to this thing anyways. Heavy Slam is going to do negligible damage. And he's obviously not an offensive variant based on that damage too. He didn't bring a ground type, so I can just Volt Switch around for free, but I go for the Thunderbolt, end up getting off 2 Thunderbolts, I think. Yeah. As he goes into Galvantula, he's just going to set up the Sticky Webs here as I go into Nidoking. Take some rocks and spikes damage. Oh, sorry, he goes for the Thunder. So Nidoking was like a really good play there because I needed to get Nidoking in before he set up the webs, and I needed to get Nidoking in if he was going for the Thunder too. I know I can actually take an HP Ice from this range, so I'm just going to go for Ice Punch. Yeah, Ice Punch was my best play there. I don't want to reveal that I have the Thunder Punch yet for the Celesteela. An Ice Punch would have killed Muck if he wanted to bring in Muck to sack it on this thing. It would have killed Gengar if he wanted to sack that. It would have killed Mesprit. All of those are really low. Really, he only has Celesteela and Greninja that are healthy, but now he has the webs up on my side. Now, what he doesn't know, and I haven't brought this very often, is that my Mega Latios is actually carrying the defog this week. I've barely brought hazard removal, and people have tried to get hazards up on me, but my team's more been a hyper offense sort of style, so they never really get a good chance to set up things like rocks. So here, he's actually going to go into Gengar, which is bad for my Nidoking, essentially, but I know I was living the Shadow Ball, and he goes for that. I was going for the Ice Punch there to bluff that I was potentially Scarfed yet again. Greninja threatens me, so I'm going to go into my Magearna. No, I'm going to go into my Tangela and sack this thing. I really don't want to give this thing... Oh god, I really do not want... He goes for the Dark Pulse and it actually crits me and kills me. I don't think the crit mattered necessarily because I was physically defensive without my Violet on. I really didn't want to give this thing Battle Bond, but unfortunately we end up giving it Battle Bond. Tangela had no business being in this game anymore, so I'm okay with that. The only problem is that Battle Bond is really scary. Now Magearna eats a Dark Pulse, and at this point I'm very skeptical of him being Specs. I'm pretty sure he's Specs after he set up the one spike and just left, and then again just hit Dark Pulse. So I know I'm living a Dark Pulse even at the HP I'm at, so he's actually going to switch into Muck and sack his Muck off here to a Thunderbolt, so Magearna gets the kill on the Muck. And now he's only got Celesteela and Ash-Greninja and Mesprit alive right now, so he's going to go into Greninja again. I'm actually fine with sacking Magearna off here. He did have to click Hydro Pump. Nothing else was going to kill me there because of my Assault Vest. Now Mega Latios tanks a Hydro Pump for sure, and we get a free defog off this turn. As he goes into his Mesprit, probably the best for him because he can end up setting his rocks up again, but my defog is getting rid of his webs, his layer of spikes, and his rocks, which are all really good for my team. Especially getting rid of the webs is really key here, and Galvantula can't set them up again. But Mesprit switching on the defog is really good for me. I can switch out now. I actually maybe should have just killed him there, but at the same time, I gotta switch into Nidoking. Now he's going to go into his Celesteela as I click the Thunder Punch. That was a really bad play on his part. He actually should have sacked his Mesprit there and then gone into Celesteela on a free switch. I think he might have been predicting me to double or something like that because the Mesprit potentially got my Nidoking, but I need to get Nidoking in before Rock showed up so that I wasn't low. But now Nidoking is just going to be able to Thunder Punch this thing again and kill it. So that's really good for my Nidoking. Picking up another kill, physically offensive, doing work. Ash-Greninja is going to come out here. He's going to have to Water Shuriken, but I get the Sucker Punch crit off. He actually goes for the Dark Pulse. So he had like a no drawback play in clicking the Dark Pulse there because it hit my entire team that was left. However, the fact that I was carrying the Sucker Punch actually really hurt him because it means he's low enough now for something else to pick it off. Rotom-Heat eats a Dark Pulse pretty much. Rotom-Heat is Scarf, and so I body that thing. He brings in the Mesprit here. I'm going to be able to get my Thunderbolt off. And now he's only got Ash-Greninja left against my Rotom-Heat, my Mamoswine, and my Mega Latios. So Greninja comes out here. He has two things he can do. He can click Water Shuriken. He can die to my Scarf Rotom-Heat, or he can click Water Shuriken and at least bring some differential back for himself. Water Shuriken is going to do absolutely nothing to my Mega Latios. If he locks himself into Dark Pulse, that would be his best play. If for some reason I choke and don't go for the Thunderbolt here, but I went for the Thunderbolt, and he actually does reveal that he has the Water Shuriken, and I know he's locked into Water Shuriken, so I'm going to go into my Mega Latios. All I have to do is hit a Draco Meteor. That's the only thing that'll kill this thing, and unfortunately I had to run Draco over Dragon Pulse this week, just to be a little bit more of a nuke against something. We missed the Draco Meteor. It doesn't really matter unless we miss this one, and he like crits us with Water Shuriken the next time around. But we do hit it, and so we pick up the win 2-0 against Loco. Picking up that Greninja was kind of big. Nidoking being physically offensive was really good, I think, in the end, although specially offensive did about the same amount of work to his team. I ended up picking physically offensive Nidoking to deal with the Muck a little bit better if he wanted to bring Assault Vest and Muck, and Nidoking proved to be valuable. Rotom-Heat proved to be really valuable in that game too, being scarfed. Assault Vested Magearna actually was kind of a tank against his Ash-Greninja. That was the reason that I brought it. Ash-Greninja is such a huge threat, and Celesteela ended up not being nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. So we end up picking up that win. This moves us to 9-3 in the standings, and because Wower has dropped out of the league, we ended up clinching a playoff spot with this win. So with 3 weeks to go, we're in the playoffs guaranteed. I don't necessarily know who my opponent's going to be, although we can kind of assume that it will be Corona. Chris still has a chance to overcome Corona in the standings as of this point, and yeah, so we'll see what's going on with that. But our next 3 weeks are kind of going to be a little bit more fun and a little lackadaisical, because I don't want to give away my strategies for playoffs. I want to try out some new stuff that potentially I won't be able to do in more serious matches. And C, I want to get a little bit more comfortable with some of the mons that I'm using, especially before playoffs. So yeah, that was our Week 12 match against Locoghoul and the New Jersey Houndooms. Next week we take on Multi-Cow and the Guatemalan Guardian Deities in Week 13 of the LEC, and I will catch you guys later.